Chris Gordon here with SYNLawn Georgia at Primrose of Brookstone with Mark Prewett, the owner.
Yep.
We're here talking about some of the unique challenges and things that we did during the installation.
Yeah, so this is our dry system spout. So obviously when we either flush a system every year or two, and then also if we do have a trip in the system, this bad water here pumps a lot of water out. And so what I did not want is have any kind of issues to where we were pumping 1,000 gallons of water out of the system, right? And then have a total washout right here of the turf. And so Chris kind of came with a great idea to prevent that from happening.
So we had a box lid with some turf on top of it, so it's not an eyesore. Ties into another drain that's underneath the swing sets that we'll talk a little bit more further about later, which all evacuates eventually to that back side of the property, because this drain leads over there back behind that swing set and then goes underneath the sidewalk to the other side, which is for the large side playground. All the water actually eventually leads into the same culprit.
Right, and so we just have a tube that actually connects from here and goes straight into the pipe, and so we literally have no issue here with being oversaturated with water or anything like that. No issues. It can cause no issues with the turf.
Yeah, because he can actually connect a hose to this and run it straight into the drain pipe, so it doesn't actually overflow here. We can keep it flowing because he's got very large straight pipe drains here, so we don't really have to worry about filling up that culprit very fast.
One of the issues that I didn't foresee happening was all the drains. We had drains that were you could see they were visible from the exterior grass that we had. And so one of my main concerns was obviously because we had grass and it would turn into mud with all the water. So I wanted to know about how does the drains work. And so Chris, obviously there's a drain here.
Yeah. So we covered up the drains with 57 stone, 89 stone. And so we don't have trip hazards around those. And they still fully permeate through the grass, which this drain actually goes underneath the sidewalk to another culprit, which leads on to the rest of the large playground, which we'll go into further detail when we go over to the larger side. But this system starts from here.
Right. You know, it's a great option for us because it makes it look seamless. It's clean. And so I didn't see these issues coming out, and that Chris,
yeah,
great options for everything.
I feel like he called me about 2 weeks after installation when he got 6 inches of rain in like 3 hours. He's like, dude, the water was gone in 15 minutes.
Zero water.
So it worked exactly how we constructed it. So here we're at the Primrose patch. We actually turfed out underneath this. Mark came in after we got done and put some tarps down to contain the materials. And this allows this thing to be part of their curriculum, and he can talk a little bit more on that.
Yeah, the one thing that we did not want is we did not want dirt on top of the turf, because then we're going back to the same kind of problems we had originally. So what we decided to do was we put some rural mulch into the actual Primrose patch and installed these units here so they can have all of the plantings and everything else that is part of the Primrose curriculum here without that dirt issue. And so we're containing the dirt in these things. And yes, we put a tarp down and have everything contained above the turf versus turfing around them.
Which allows us, if he ever wants to move these, he's not stuck with big holes in the turf. So we were able to install directly over the turf to allow that to be a good functioning space.
Right.
So here we're in the larger playground. That drainage network that we talked about comes across here. There's a couple of exposed drains, one by the picnic table, one about here, that wrap around the sport court that we end up going with. We'll talk a little bit more on that in just a moment. But there was a large grade change right here, right after the basketball court. Probably dropped down about 2.5 feet. We were able to build that space up over a drain because there's another drain just between the picnic table and the tire swing over there. So all this that conglomerates to right here. It drains. I think that drains box is what, like right here?
Yep, right under the thing.
So again, we were able to bring this space up to create a good smooth transition from the sport court. And once I saw the new equipment, I said, we need to think about doing a sport court. We were able to match the equipment with a custom sport court here. The advantages to the sport court is it does not hold water. It's about 30% cooler than concrete. And now we've been able to add things like hopscotch, foursquare, and basketball in. We ended up actually hanging this basketball backboard up. Its own unique challenge within itself, but painted the pole to kind of get everything in a matching sense. So here we have the use zone is 72 inches outside of all the equipment. Here we got 2-inch pad here, which is rated for a 10-foot fall requirement. We also went ahead and installed trample zones here because your foot traffic areas, we call these trample zones because where they enter and exit the equipment is going to get trampled at an uneven rate. We actually decided to go ahead and do these up front. Sometimes we come in afterwards because Mark, again, wanted to do things right the first time. You'll see that we didn't do them underneath the tire swing because we weren't sure what the traffic patterns would be yet, but we do plan on returning now that we see what those traffic patterns are like. That shows you exactly why we were avoiding underneath this equipment. So here we are at the fire truck, which is only rated for a 4-foot fall zone. This again was built with 2-inch pads, so this is even safer than the requirements do make. And again, you'll see that we did the trample zones around this piece of equipment, but with 2-inch pad, this is even safer space than it normally would be for your kids.
That was absolutely the plan. Was if the requirement is here, we want to go here because I view it as what I'd want to do for my kids. So.
Yeah, we could have got away with putting a 1-inch pad in this zone just to meet the requirement, but we exceeded that requirement here around the fire truck. We also used 2-inch pad up at the front and around the swing sets and stuff, so we made it all consistent. And now we're at the toddlers EPS playground, again with our trample zones, and again with 2-inch fall pad, exceeding that expectation of what the fall height requirements are. This is where we wrapped up the project, Mark.
This was stage 4 of everything or whatever. So we started on the front playground. We wanted to make sure we had an operating playground at all times. So we started on the front of the playground. We worked our way back here, and this corner is actually the last corner that we did. And I think everything turned out really great. The parents like it, the teachers like it, the kids absolutely love it.